I didn't get a chance to put the music on. Would you like me to hold on just a second, just for you, Glenn, since you're
Thank you.
out of town? Hold on just a second here.
Don't let me down.
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
That's your cue, Glenn.
I thought maybe Matt was going to do the intro. He's the guy in the studio right now.
I'm in your chair, but you're still here, so I can't.
Whoa,
I'm not
you're
ready.
in my chair?
I am in your chair. I'm in the hot seat.
Hey, easy guy. I can't leave for 1 week. You're already moving over to my chair.
Feels good. Feels good over here.
It's all warm.
I've got a special guest here with me that I want to get on the show for just a couple minutes before we get going with the rest of our show. We got this really cool opportunity because I'm up in Colorado. We're going to be talking about fighting rifles today, and I'm in Rifle, Colorado. How awesome is that?
That is pretty cool.
Coincidence?
And for those of our listeners who know and pay enough attention online, there's been kind of some hubbub online about Shooter's Grill here in Rifle, Colorado. And it is a grill where all the waitresses carry firearms. The owners carry firearms. I'm standing right here with one of the owners, and she's packing, which is awesome. And they also teach classes here. Is that right, Lauren? So they also teach concealed weapons classes. So they teach concealed weapons classes. Anything else? Or just concealed weapons. That's awesome. That's great. Good start. So they teach concealed weapons classes out of their diner. So I mean, it's like a one-stop shop. You can stop in and get your permit, get a good meal. It's a pretty cool place. The whole place is decorated. All the gals are carrying, and to be honest, they all look like it's not like a new thing to them. It doesn't look like a prop. A lot of places you go, that kind of stuff looks like a prop. So what I want to do so that Lauren can get back to work is I'm going to have her get on the air real quick and just kind of tell us a little bit about why they do this particularly. This isn't what you see in a lot of grills. You walk in, it's like any other diner. The waitresses are friendly, and it's a very nice environment. But there's obviously something a little bit different because all the waitresses are carrying. So I'm going to have her get on and just kind of talk about why they do that and why it's a big part of their promotion, and why they believe so strongly in the Second Amendment, which, of course, is a huge part of what our show is about. So here is Lauren.
Hi there.
Good morning.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm on the air. I'm doing fantastic. I'm Lauren. I'm the owner here at Shooter's Grill, and it's such an honor to be on the air with you guys today and talk about what we do.
Well, we appreciate you being on.
It's good to have you.
Sure. So I guess what most people want to know is how all this got started. We opened up last May, and I began to open carry in the restaurant about 3 weeks after we opened. There was an altercation in our alley. And I don't have all the details, and I don't want to spread rumors about my town. But the altercation ended in a man losing his life. And it kind of got me spooked a little bit, and I started talking about needing to get my concealed weapons permit so I could start carrying in my own restaurant. And I was talking to a customer about that, and he said, well, in Colorado, you can just open carry. And I said, well, praise the Lord, I'll do that. I went and researched all the laws, and I began to carry my tourist judge the very next day. And about a month or two after that, my waitresses began to approach me and ask if they could carry in the restaurant as well. And so I permitted them to do that. As we have evolved and started doing that even more, we implemented a concealed weapons training class here in the restaurant. It's hosted by Legal Heat. They're based out of Utah. Dustin Weiniger comes in and he teaches the class. My girls who want to open carry, they come through the training, whether they've been through training already or not. They come through the training so they're not ignorantly carrying a firearm in the restaurant around customers. So we started doing that, and it's just been a total success.
What kind of reaction do people just have when they come in there and they don't know, they don't know what really to expect?
We don't get any outrageous reactions in the restaurant. Just within the past year of us doing this, we've gotten just a handful of responses about, oh, hey, you're open carrying. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You don't see that a lot. We just got a few comments like that. And then our local newspaper did a story on us. We won 11 awards for Local Choice on our food, not for the firearms that we carry. And we came in and ended up doing a story on our firearms. And that just obviously went nationwide and international. And so we've definitely got a lot more comments since then.
So the big.
But nobody has ever walked in and said, "Oh, this is scary. I'm going to leave." You know, I think most people, they know what they're coming into, and they appreciate it.
Have you seen tips go up? No.
Have I did what? I'm sorry.
I said, have you seen the tip? Everybody's making sure they leave a tip now before they leave, right?
Oh, tips, yes. Well, sales have definitely increased, and my girls definitely taking care well. But there's no brandishing, so, you know, if the service isn't up to par, then they don't need the tips.
Well, that's good stuff.
But,
It sounds like you got something really cool going on up there.
Yeah, you know, we're just all about God, guns, and great food. You know, we open this to serve the Lord and to serve the people that He created, and I really just give all the glory to God. We opened this restaurant in faith, believing that God would prosper everything that we put our hand to. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your ways to the Lord, and your plans will succeed." And we've committed Shooter's Grill to God, and it has been successful ever since. And you know, as far as the Second Amendment goes, you know, everybody's trying to take our rights away all the time, and you know, just the more we can hang on to them, the better. This country is founded on God and the principles of the Word of God, and that's what we need to get back to. You know, it's not going to be a debate, an argument. People need to turn their hearts back to God, and that's how we're going to get this nation right again.
Amen. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's awesome. Thank you for everything for what you guys do up there, and we'll make sure that Glenn brings me back something from up there. So
best item on the menu.
A t-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. We
appreciate everything that you do, and we're looking forward to keeping in touch with you guys up there. And again, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much to Lauren.
Yeah.
I'll be during a break. I'm going to be running back into the grill and grabbing a bite of my breakfast that I've ordered. So that'll be fun. But thank you very much, Lauren. I'll be right back in to talk to you. Thank you. All right. So what do you think about that? That's pretty cool, right?
That was really cool.
That sounds awesome.
Really cool.
We need to open something like that here.
Make sure you grab her business card, contact information, bring that home with you.
I will. I'll make sure to grab all that. But very cool. And I'm going to get some pictures, probably with Lauren and some of the girls, some of the waitresses who are all carrying, and I'll throw that up on the Arms Room page. You know, once I get back to my office or back to my mobile office as it is right now. So anyways, what's going on with you guys today?
You know, it's Monday.
It is Monday, and I forgot my dip.
So Matt's a little. Matt's a little.
How will you survive?
Yeah, Matt's a little cranky because he forgot his dip, and I'm.
Oh man. That's funny.
Still an a-hole. So
no, that works. Hey, you know, we never actually did an intro. I was so excited to get Lauren on the phone. You know, we didn't say, "Hey, it's the Arms Room with Glenn and Matt and Adam in the corner making terrible faces." I don't even see your terrible faces today.
Yeah, I get to.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to sit on this side from now on. Even if it's next to you, Adam's face, it does something to me.
Come on, man. You can sit on my lap. It's okay.
Yes.
Whoa.
Hey. All right, so back to the topic at hand. All right, so today we're going to be talking about fighting rifles. There's so much debate out there about how to set up a fighting rifle and what is a fighting rifle and what is a fighting rifle really for? Is this for home defense? Is this a battle rifle for shooting zombies or Russian invaders, or what is a real battle rifle? And so the way that I look at a battle rifle is it's something I'm going to use or a fighting rifle, I should say. It's something I'm going to use for any kind of situation that's going to require the use of a rifle for self-defense, whether that is combative, on a large scale or even a small scale. That's really what I'm looking at. So when I'm looking at setting that up, there's a couple of considerations that I want to make. First of all, it doesn't have to be an AR or an AK or anything like that. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these crazy pictures online, and I mean crazy, not crazy as in out of this world, just kind of crazy awesome, of guys who set up, lever action guns with, a good solid flashlight and a red dot optic, and you look at it and you're kind of like, oh, a tactical lever gun, I don't know about that. But when you think about it, if you get a good lever gun and 44 mag, you know, it's going to hold, I don't know, what does that hold? Probably 8, 9, 10 rounds or something like that. I know I've got one in 357 that holds 11 rounds. And, you know, so you get it in 357 or 44 mag. And, man, I mean, what a great little caliber and what a great gun to use in a close quarters situation where most of your engagements are probably not going to be, you know, beyond 100 meters. So I think that's kind of the first place we have to start, is kind of thinking outside the box with, you know, in regard to a battle rifle. Everyone runs to an AR and AK, and while those are great choices, of course, they're not necessarily like, you know, the end-all be-all, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So what would you consider an end-all be-all rifle?
105 millimeter, I don't know. That's an end-all be-all. That pretty much solves your problems.
So let me ask you this, Glenn. How many different classifications of rifles? I'm assuming you have like long-range rifles,
sure,
and then you'd have something more for like a shorter range. What would how would you differentiate the two?
Well, I think that's kind of the next logical step we have to take, is now that we've thought outside the box of what is a quote-unquote you know, fighting rifle, now we've got to look at what is the purpose of this rifle. You know, recently I was talking to a student of ours who's a law enforcement officer, and he was talking about, oh, well, you know, I want something I can carry in my patrol car. He's a little bit more free with what his agency will allow. You know, like, I want something I can carry in my patrol car, something I can, you know, shoot in close quarters. I'll probably, you know, take it home with me and use it in home defense. And I'm going, well, now you're looking at you know, you're considering all those things of something that's easily deployed out of the vehicle, something that's used inside a building. Now the traditional idea of a long-barreled rifle isn't the kind of thing that's probably going to fit his needs. So now he's going to have to go to a short-barreled rifle or a carbine. And I think let's kind of go back to your question there for a second. Is we've got to figure out, what are we going to be using this thing for? What is our fighting rifle? You know, I hear a lot of people say things like, well, I just use my old hunting rifle. That's going to be my fighting rifle because I'm going to shoot everyone at 300 meters and call it a day. And it's like, well, that's great until they're at 3, you know, or until they're at 10 or whatever. Like, you know, when they're a lot closer, now that bolt-action gun suddenly doesn't become such a great option. And so you have to determine, like, what am I actually going to be doing with this? So to, you know, kind of define some terms here, let's say a rifle is going to be anything with a barrel length greater than 18 inches, all right? And a carbine is going to be anything with a barrel length less than 18 inches. So most of the things we're talking about really are carbines. The majority of your ARs, AKs, lever guns, Mini 14s, SCARs, ACRs, you know, whatever your flavor is, SKSs, you know, whatever, BZ-58s, all the different types of rifles I see out there are technically carbines. So we're using a term that has a real technical meaning. We're kind of using it interchangeably when we say rifle versus carbine. Now, sometimes we'll say, it's a carbine. Sometimes we'll say, it's a rifle. Yes, they are technically two different things. But what we're really talking about here is something that's going to take a rifle, or I should say a longer barrel, which is going to increase, you know, not just your velocity, but also going to increase, you know, your range and your capability to deliver, you know, sufficient energy at that range to actually do the kind of damage that you're potentially looking to do. Does that answer your question, Adam?
It does. Thank you.
In a really long kind of way.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Matt? I mean, when you're thinking about fighting rifles, I mean, you know, based on your experience with, and I know, you know, your military experience, hunting experience, all that kind of stuff, what do you think of when you think of a fighting rifle?
I mean, a fighting rifle it's about practicality. So yeah, you're gonna have an optic, backup sights. If you're into the whole optic thing, a flashlight, a grip, if that's what you want, and you know, that's pretty much it. bare bones essentials, no lasers and all. A lot of people get these rifles and they see a picture of some dude on a SEAL team. And they're like, I got to make my rifle like that. And then it's really heavy and they don't like carrying it and they can't use it and half the stuff doesn't work. I think like your bare bones essential is some kind of optic, whether that is backup sights or an optic like an EOTech. A lot of people like ACOGs. I think ACOGs look super cool and they're really awesome, but it's kind of pointless to use that in a house. I'd go with something like an Aimpoint or an EOTech, and then if you really want that magnification, have that flip over sight, still have your backup iron sights in case your optic fails, and a flashlight and some kind of grip. I mean, if you need it, like I like the Magpul AFGs. Some people like the vertical foregrip, some people don't like anything. It comes back to like finding out what you like to use, but I think that's about it in terms of what you need. A barrel short enough to get what you need done, but still long enough to be relatively accurate in a longer range, if that's what you need. And a sling, that's pretty much it, at least in my eyes.
Well, I think you really brought something really important there with barrel length when you're looking at, is this something that I'm going to be using in a close situation, or is this something I'm going to be using at distance? I don't know, it's been a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, that we had, was it Don Langworthy from Shooter's World in talking to us about how to get involved in Class 3 and NFA items. And when you're looking at it from that perspective, getting an SBR, getting a short-barreled rifle, especially if I'm using it inside a house, is a great idea, unless this may be the same rifle that I'm going to be trying to apply potentially beyond 300 meters. I know that was a major problem that our guys discovered in Afghanistan. Of course, was an M4 carbine in Iraq was awesome because your standard engagement range weren't that far typically, whereas in Afghanistan your standard engagement ranges were up to 1,000 meters, and they had our enemies there had these rifles that are freaking ancient. They're shooting Mausers and Mosins and things like that, but these big giant calibers that reach really, really far and still have a lot of energy when they get there. And the majority of our guys are shooting 5.56 out of these 16-inch barrels, and by the time they got out to 600, 700, 800 plus, they just didn't have the oomph that was required to really put someone on their ass.
Right.
And then you start watching a lot of units changing caliber, changing barrel length, trying to increase that distance and that lethality. So I totally agree that, first we've got to figure out what do we want to use it for, what do I want the barrel length to be, what's the maximum distance I'm potentially going to be engaging at, and then we want to look at the accessories. And I'm with you in that too many people put too much crap on their gun. A lot of it comes from they just watched Act of Valor or they played Call of Duty, and now they're like, I got to have that gun. It's going to be set up just like that. And they're not thinking about practicality.
Adam looks guilty.
So, what's that?
I said Adam looks guilty.
You're not. I mean,
Yeah,
I got the pistol grip, the double sights, the NAS. They got the, let me see here.
The side vertical
the side
grip.
vertical grip.
The chainsaw grip.
The chainsaw grip, yeah. An M203.
I saw a guy selling one of those. It was a 37 millimeter grenade launcher. He's selling it on Arizona Gun Traders. It's like this Facebook group.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's called the Havoc.
Yeah, it's like
I've seen one before.
Yeah, it's made by Spikes Tactical, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 37 millimeter grenade launcher. You can do like flares and stuff. It's like totally legal.
That's crazy.
It's pretty
Yeah.
pretty rattle can too. It's not a very good piece of equipment. No.
Well, hey Glenn, we're up against a break here, real quick. Why don't you tell the listeners what's coming up after the break?
All right. So after the break, we're going to get more into the practicality. We're going to talk about optics and lights. We're going to talk about caliber, and what else, Matt? There was something else I told you we were going to talk about. Wandering around the sidewalk in Rifle, Colorado. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, are you a walker while you talk? You got to walk on the phone.
I am walking while I talk.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I do. I can't sit down anymore. So we'll go on break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about more practicality of the fighting rifle. You are listening to the Arms Room.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Break one now. How about that bandage? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
We're back on the arms room with Glenn. Are you there, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool.
Bueller.
I am here. Hey, you guys got to tell me what your shirt sizes are. Now you're probably, a large, maybe an extra large? Adam, you're a
extra medium.
Right?
Whoa, wait a minute. What'd you just say? I'm sorry, there's a bad connection here.
Well, you might have heard me say 4. I meant 5.
Oh, ouch. We got fat guy jokes.
Well,
huh?
Is Adam, do you need this?
Distance right now, so
Listen, I'm
I can
husky.
say whatever I want.
I am husky, all right? There's a big difference. I'm not fat, I'm husky. I'm a double X, thank you.
Yeah, I'll take a large.
Are you an XL, man?
Yeah,
Double
I'm
X.
bulking back. yeah, grab me an XL.
Devin, it's all right. Well, I'm going to bring you guys some shirts for Shooters Grill.
Hey, thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I have to insult you first before I give you a gift. It's my way of giving, you know. So anyways, let's get back to the fighting rifle thing. So practicality of guns. And I was, during the break, I read a Facebook comment from our friend Tim McBride, who knows a lot about these kind of things, I might add. And one of the things he said was, people spend too much money, on crap, instead of, spending that money on training and ammo. And I really, Tim, dude, I cannot agree more we see so many people show up to our classes, independence training classes, and they've got a bipod, they have a frickin' D-ball laser, they've got EOTech with a flip-up magnifier, they've got every Magpul frickin' accessory you can possibly put on there. They're all teched out, ready to rock, and their shit's not even zeroed. And obviously that's part of the reason they come to training is to learn how to do all that kind of stuff. But it's like, whoa, and all that money and time you spend putting all that stuff on, don't you think maybe you could have gone to the range and at least gotten a rough idea of where the thing's impacting?
Can't afford the ammo now.
Ammo costs money. And some Navy SEAL was just seen with these sights. I know I already have 2 pairs of backup sights, but I need to get the angled 45-degree backup sights. They're in Call of Duty.
Right. I need my magnified optic and my angled backup sights. And you touched on something about sights, too, that I want to talk about before we get into optics. You talked about backup iron sights, Matt, and regardless of the rifle, whether you're talking about a levered gun or an SKS or an AK or an AR or whatever, you have to have a set of iron sights. Now, while optic failure is not that common, so common to the point where I'm going to have to be engaging my irons all the time, there's a couple things here that people don't necessarily think about. One, personally, I've seen optic failure enough to make sure that I always have a set of backup iron sights on my rifle. Right? I mean, I've seen it happen enough times under situations where sights were needed, where a set of backup irons really, saved the day. 2, don't discount the idea of having your optic zeroed at 1-0 and your iron zeroed at something else. For those kind of shooters who may find themselves in situations where they're going to be engaging targets at multiple distances, such as competition or maybe even personal combat, or self-defense in the home or outside the home, where a secondary zero, something farther away, I'm going to zero typically a red dot at like 50 meters, but I'm always going to zero my irons at 100 just simply because I want the capability to engage something a little bit farther. And if I'm generally at 100, I typically have time to engage those irons in most personal situations. Overseas combat may be different, but self-defense wise, I'm typically going to have time to do that. And iron sights are incredibly important, absolutely vital. So, and don't go cheap on them. Get something that's a good piece of equipment.
You mean like the Magpul PTS airsoft training sights? I shouldn't put those on my rifle.
And a lot of people don't know that those things exist either, Matt. That's the tough thing is that Magpul makes a line of airsoft accessories. And people will buy their M-Bus or polymer M-Bus sights, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do use a couple sets, and they do work pretty well. But it hasn't failed me yet. And they actually have an airsoft lineup, so you can get a pair for like $50.
Oh, it's even less than that. They're super cheap.
And then they'll throw them on their real rifle, and then they'll break. And hopefully it doesn't happen when they need it the most, but you do have to be careful. There are a lot of replica things out there for the Milsimmers or for the airsofters. There's a lot of stuff that's just a knockoff, off-branded knockoffs. What's good enough? Well, to a point, An optic that doesn't hold zero, and we'll get into optics now, but it's like, I've seen plenty of knockoff optics throughout classes where, it may not have the brand name on it, and you might have saved a couple $100, but now the thing won't hold zero. Or it won't, we get a little bit of rain and it fogs up, or something like that.
Right.
It's like, okay, well now your shit doesn't work at all. So you might have saved a couple bucks, but now it doesn't work when you need it to work. So, you have to consider that. And I'm definitely not saying you have to spend top dollar all the time. That's definitely not it. I've run plenty of less expensive optics that run great. It's just, you got to consider price is a factor when you're going to be building this, fighting rifle.
Absolutely.
So on the optics, and then you mentioned, Matt, a couple of sites, the ACOG. There's a lot of other sites out there like it, such as the LCAN. I kind of like the LCAN. It's a variable. It's either 1 or 4. It's not a 1, 2, 4. It's a 1 or a 4. So you put it on 1. It's a close-up optic for handling things close quarters, or you just hit a throw lever, boom, magnifies it out to 4, and now you can have it out to distance. Now, that being said, LCAMs are also pretty expensive. You're generally going to be, putting down more than $1,000, sometimes a couple $1,000, to get a good one. Same thing with an ACOG.
Oh, yeah.
ACOG's a good, sturdy piece of equipment, but, getting into one other than buying it on the used market, if you're buying a new one, getting into a new ACOG for under $1,000 is not something that's easy to do.
Right.
And as you mentioned, now I have an optic that works great for certain applications, but for most average people wanting to build a fighting rifle, it's too much magnification, even close in. And there's techniques that you can use, such as covering the front of the objective or the optic, to use it as a both eyes open kind of red dot sight, so to speak,
right.
And it works really well. But again, I'm kind of working outside of the standard operation of the optics. So personally, I like red dots. They're great for close quarters kind of stuff. But an optic I've really started to become a huge fan of for competition, for a combative rifle, even my hunting rifles, are the low power variables. Right now, I've been using the Burris line, the MTAC, and the TAC-30s. I love the MTAC. The MTAC's the one I've been using right now. I think they have the newest one. I think it's called like the XTR or something like that. And what's awesome about the low power variables is when I turn it all the way down to 1 power, it is a standard both eyes open red dot optic. So just like an aim point or anything else. Then, with a quick throw of the switch, I can adjust it all the way up to, in my case, up to 4. And now I have the capability to easily engage things, especially with the reticle that has a bullet drop compensation built into it. I can easily engage out to 500-600 meters, really without a problem. Even on 4 power, that's plenty magnification for those distances. And they make different. They make 2 to 7 power. They make 1.5 to 5. I think they now have like a 1 to 6 out there on the market. So there's a lot of great options for those low power variables. And so you've got a great reticle. You have the capability at 1 power to, and that's why I like the 1 powers and not the 1.5s or the 2s, because at 1 it is a literal both eyes open red dot. I also have the capability, to zoom in and see things, and don't discount magnification in a close quarters situation. People look at it and say, well, dude, with my red dot, I can hit stuff all day at 100. Dude, I've killed shit at 300 with a red dot, all right? It's not that hard. Here's the problem. Could I really 100% identify what I was shooting at 300? In these cases, I knew that it was something I wanted to shoot.
Right.
But in a situation where I might be dealing with a hostage situation or just a whole bunch of freaking people all over the place, I might be trying to identify, especially like from a law enforcement perspective, where you're trying to identify, is that really a knife in that guy's hand or is it a cell phone? Maybe it's kind of dark and it's hard to see. Having the capability to go from 1 power and cranking up to a high power has a lot more benefit than just zooming in on a target to, try to get better hits.
Right.
There's target identification to consider as well. So,
and how much does a low power variable about run on average?
The MTAC, I want to say about 450, 500.
Okay.
And I use the Burris MTAC. I see, they have, obviously, Leupold has them, Night Force has them. You can spend more if you want to.
Right, but a good one costs about $450, you said?
Yeah, about $450, $500, and you're into a good optic. The only downside I found with these things so far is they are the size, they're a little bit smaller than a standard traditional scope, but they're still kind of big, and it does add weight to the gun, and that kind of sucks.
Right. And that's why you compensate with pulling off other useless stuff.
Exactly, pull up all the useless crap. When we teach our carbine classes and people see our instructors' rifles, they usually look at them and they're like, where's all the cool guy stuff? And we're like,
it's all up here, and you point to your head.
Exactly.
It's already.
I'm the weapon, this is the tool kind of concept, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you show them, like, well, this is why I use very minimal stuff, man. I pack this crap around. It's not really that much fun, And on that note, one thing that I would put on every defensive fireman, honestly, if I had a bare bones fighting rifle, again, lever action, SKS, AK, whatever, if I had a bare bones fighting rifle and I only had the money to put one thing on it, it would be a light. It would be a really good light. You know, a high-end stream light, the TLR1s, the Surefire, X300s, any of those are good lights. Get a high-end light. If you have to go cheap because that's all you can put in your budget, so be it. Have some kind of light. You don't have to spend a lot to put a decent, light on. You can get a stream light, ProTac. I think they're, maybe $40 at the most, probably $30. And you can get a 1-inch Weber scope ring from Walmart for $5. And, a little piece of Picatinny rail you could drill into your rifle yourself if you didn't have any other way to attach it, or you don't already have a rail system on there. I mean, you've got a light now, a pretty decent light, for probably less than $50. So that being said, a light is crucial for a defensive firearm. Any kind of fighting rifle, I have to be able to identify effectively what I'm going to be shooting and make sure it's something that needs to be shot. Plus, I can't shoot what I can't see. I need to be able to get 100% hits. Liability is sometimes a concern, sometimes not, depending on your environment. But what's always a concern is stopping some asshole from shooting you before you shoot for it, or stopping, I should say, by shooting him before he shoots you. That's always a concern.
Right.
And so, people want to run around in the dark acting like freaking ninjas. That's super great for them. I'd rather just kill stuff and move on. So if you're going to put one thing on your rifle, in my opinion, got to be a light.
Absolutely.
Then an optic. So, what else as far as accessories? Now, suppressors. Putting a suppressor on the defensive firearm is not a bad idea, especially if you're going to be using it inside of a building.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you can put a suppressor on your lever gun. There's nothing wrong with that. Put it on your FKS. If you're going to put it on an FKS, an AK, anything like that, do not just go down and have it threaded and put a suppressor on. Those barrels traditionally suck, not very well made. Have an aftermarket barrel put on, some from American Arsenal or Rifle Dynamics, or just buy one of their setups, and then you want to put a suppressor on something like that. But most of your standard American-made products have good enough barrels that you can add a can on them. The can is great defensively because it gives me the capability to save my hearing and my sight. Great flash suppression, obviously sound suppression, while I'm engaging, and still be able to see and talk and understand following whatever that situation is, especially if I'm going to be using this thing in a building. Now, obviously, that's going to drive the cost of this whole project up if I add a suppressor, but understand the benefit of such a thing.
Absolutely.
What else as far as accessories, Matt? What do you think?
Sling?
Slings are great. I don't use a sling on any home defense guns.
Right.
And I've been.
I don't have one on.
I
don't have one on mine either. You've seen what mine's set up like. I don't have that on mine. But some people like it.
For a field fighting rifle.
Absolutely, yeah.
For whatever, gotta have a sling, dude. Gotta have a sling. Not only
so
do
something like you're going
it,
long range, or if you're out in the woods hunting or something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm out in the woods. I'm dealing with a problem outside of my home. I'm going over to a Clyde Bundy kind of situation or whatever, or Clyde, whatever that situation may be, where I'm going to be having my rifle for an extended period of time. I need to attach it to my body. Not only does it help with retention of the firearm and just carrying of the firearm, but used appropriately and used with the right kind of sling, you're going to be able to stabilize your shooting platform that much more and increase your accuracy. And that's why I'm a big fan of 2-point slings on fighting rifles. I like personally the kinds that can convert from 2-point to single point quickly, so that if I find myself in that close quarters type situation, I can go very quickly to a single point, easily detached from the gun if need be. But when I'm out and about in the field doing whatever I need to be doing out there, I like a 2-point. Gives me the capability to more comfortably carry the gun, puts less stress on my body, allows me to sling it behind my back very easily, and also helps me to stabilize a shooting platform for longer shots. And on my fighting rifles, on my ARs, the only slings I use now are from Redwire Gear, which is owned by John, who's our one of our other co-hosts. So if you want to check out his slings, they're awesome. I love them because they go from 2-point to single point. John built this sling not just based on his experience, but also based on his time as an instructor with us, and seeing that, all the negative parts, I should say, of other slings, what works and what doesn't. And he kind of got rid of all the bad stuff and only put the good stuff. So it's a very cool sling, and you can check them out at redwiregear.com if you're interested to find out more about those slings. But personally, it's all I use now. Even on my shotguns and stuff like that, it's the only thing I use. So, what else? Anything else, Matt, you can think of?
Yeah, that was a very good pitch.
Yeah.
Foregrip, if that's what you're into.
What's that?
A foregrip. Adam says he prefers a 5 grip.
You would. You probably saw those 5th group guys have one of those things. You just couldn't help yourself. You put 4 of them on your rifle, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I put the chainsaw grip. I picked up mine from Black & Decker.
That's the new tactical company, Black & Decker.
Black & Decker. Shoot some fucking zombies with our stuff.
And make toast.
Yeah, I don't care about vertical foregrips, man. I don't use them on any of my rifles. Some people like them. That's great. I prefer hand stops, and I actually make my own. I take the Magpul vertical foregrips, the small ones, the MVGs or whatever, and I cut them down so they're very small. And I use them for 2 main things. One, I use them as a hand stop, not only as a reference point for my hand, but also as the capability to put reverse pressure on the gun. Very similar to the AFG. Very similar. Only mine's not, just doesn't have that kind of angled part. The other thing that they're really nice for is when I'm behind cover shooting around objects, I can jam that thing up against cover and give myself some added stability.
Yeah.
But vertical foregrips in general, I mean, they're typically used for control of the firearm during sustained cyclic fire, which isn't something I'm typically doing.
Right.
So,
well, hey, Glenn, we're up against a break here real quick, a last break of the show. What do you want to tell everybody what they can expect after the break?
All right, so after the break, we're going to talk about zero. Where should I zero this rifle? And actually, before that, we're going to talk a little bit about caliber, which is always a fun topic because there's so many opinions on that. So Matt and I will kind of talk to our experience on caliber. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about zero. And I think that'll probably wrap up the show. So, if anyone has any questions, call in. Adam, what's the number? I'm out here. I don't remember what the number is.
Yeah, the number is 602-399-7787. I think it'd be easier if they have questions, go ahead on the Arms Room Facebook page and post your questions there.
Okay, I guess that'll be easier since I'm on the phone, right?
Yep.
So, all right, so go on our Facebook page, the Arms Room, and ask your questions or your comments, and we're happy to read them. I'll check the page real quick and see if there's anything else. Thanks to Tim for putting in his 2 cents. Appreciate that. When we come back from the break, we'll finish up talking about practicality of setting up a fighting rifle. You are listening to the Arms Room.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who have chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising. Hey everyone, it's Adam from Vets On. Are you or someone you know looking for employment? Then look no further than iVetX. iVetX is placing veterans with the right hiring companies. Join their mission in putting veterans in inspiring careers with ensured success. Access their national pipeline of military talent for companies. All veterans are pre-screened for 55 soft skill sets, 800 clarification types, education, experience, salary range, and so much more. iVetX can help you find the perfect job to veteran match. Your skills are based on what's needed for success in that job. You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
We're back on the Arms Room. Glenn, are you still there?
Of course I'm still here.
You never know.
I got to listen to Adam and James's voice for so long in commercial breaks.
Yeah.
Usually I take my headphones off because I can't stand to listen to those two guys talking, but this tape I was a captive audience. I had to listen, and, you know.
Take that.
Huh.
Interesting. I'm kind of turned on.
Interesting.
Adam, hot voice, dude.
Hey, it's not the first time I've heard that.
You sound better than you look.
Well, that's why I do radio.
Anybody ever tell you got a good face for radio?
Yeah, all the time.
So we're talking about setting up fighting rifles, and one thing I wanted to mention that we kind of skimmed over before last break was lights and lumen capacity. Without getting into a big, long thing, real quick, kind of my experience leading to a recommendation on lights is this. One, when the light comes on, it better come on in high mode. I don't want it to come on in low mode, strobe mode, fun mode, disco mode, any shit like that. When I turn the light on, I want it to come on in high mode. I don't care about a lot of different modes. Like, even in my Streamlight TLR1s that have strobe mode, I disable all that crap. I don't want to have to, and you can't disable it. I don't want to have to sit there and try to, I accidentally hit it twice or once or 3 times or whatever. I want the light to come on. I want it to be incredibly, blindingly bright. And if I need a lower light for navigation or something like that, well, then I've obviously got the time to, switch to a lower mode. But I want it to be able to be easily accessible and come on super bright. Lumens, I prefer inside a house. I prefer to keep it under 150 lumens or right around that ballpark. Too much brighter than that, you potentially blind yourself on white walls, blind yourself, you get reflection from a mirror or a window or a stove front or anything like that. Outside of the house, depending on how far I'm looking at shooting, I'll go up to, at that point, I'm not really looking at lumen count. I'm looking more at the quality of the reflector. And I've got a couple lights that easily illuminate, that are rifle mountable, that easily illuminate targets up to 500-600 meters. So, you can get those if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Matt, anything to add on that?
No, I think you got it. You get it pretty well.
So we've got 10 minutes to talk about caliber, which is perfect. Because I don't want any more time than that, so we don't get drawn into stupid conversations.
Perfect.
Caliber, such a debated and debatable type thing. Here's my kind of view on caliber. I want a caliber that's easy to shoot, very controllable, easy to stay on target, and put a lot of rounds very quickly on a target, even at distance. I want a caliber I can afford to shoot, but that still has a required amount of energy to sufficiently stop a potential threat. almost all the calibers and types of rifles we've talked about today will meet that. 7.62 by 3.9, 223 or 5.56, 357 lever gun, 44 lever gun. Obviously, a 308 7.62 by 5.1 would be more than sufficient. Any of that kind of stuff would be fine. And don't necessarily discount pistol caliber carbines as a fighting rifle either if, all you're expecting are close-up engagements, something in a 9 or a 45 or whatever, or like I mentioned, the 357 or 44s. Don't discount that kind of stuff. So that's about it when it comes to caliber. Me personally, inside a building, I prefer 5.56. It over-penetrates interior walls and interior building types less while increasing lethality and increasing the capability to penetrate through armor, where other types of rifles kind of fall short of that. So that's my personal choice inside of a building. I typically go for 5.56. Longer distances, I'll generally go to a 30 cal 7.62 by 3.9 style if I need a little more oomph at the longer, 200-300 meters. If I'm going beyond that, typically I'm moving up to a 308 or something along those lines. So what do you have to add about that, Matt?
There's this new craze about the 300 Blackout. Apparently everybody loves this thing. But there's so many calibers out there. There's so many. We could literally have a 2-hour show every week for an entire month about calibers and differences and opinions and viewpoints. I know one of the things you said is you want the stopping power, to put that whatever it is you're shooting down. Something that I kind of thought up, I didn't really think it up, but something I kind of realized is that a 22 is the most lethal round in the world, I would say. Would you agree? Most deaths are responsible. Gun deaths are from 22s.
When you're looking at shootings involving civilians, gang-related stuff like that, 22 is a very commonly used gun.
Right. And until this crazy recent ammo thing, it's pretty much always been available ammo. The weapons are super light. You can carry 1,000 rounds of 22, and it's maybe a couple pounds in your pocket. You could get a Camelback and throw 1,000 rounds of 22 in there. But a lot of companies are making these AR-22s, like Smith & Wesson has that M&P 1522. The thing weighs 2 pounds. You could carry 1,000 rounds for a couple pounds. And yeah, you're not going to take one shot and down the guy, but if you got snapped 5 or 6 times by a 22, you might not die immediately, but you're probably going to have a lot of issues after that. But the advantage of that is that it's
agree, and I also disagree.
And I understand, I'll take a 5.56 any day, but for people that are on a super tight budget or just out, just purely outside the box thinking, those 22s are like airsoft when it comes to recoil. So you can take your time and you can, you get that first round on. Your rifle's not going anywhere. You can just keep throwing rounds down.
One benefit too is when you're looking at accessorizing them, your suppressors, if you want to add suppressor, that's cheaper. 22 cans are a third the cost of a 30 cal or 5.56 can.
Right.
When you're looking at the quality of optics, not that you want to go for a bad optic, but you don't need something that can handle the recoil.
Right. You don't need
a larger gun.
You don't need $1,000 ACOG. You can go get some cheap knockoff for a couple hundred.
So yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, adding a can to a 22 reduces the velocity of a round that already has a relatively low velocity, but up close and personal, it's not a terrible choice.
Right.
My only gripe against the 22, and I'm a huge 22 fan. I'm like a 22 collector when it comes to the rifles. I love 22s. My only gripe against it as a battle rifle is its penetration capability. Because it has such low energy, it doesn't take much heavy clothing or muscle tissue or fat or anything like that to stop a 22 from penetrating deep enough to actually reach vital organs. And as you said, my M&P 1522 with a 25-round magazine in it, it's easy to dump 10 rounds on target, no problem, and hopefully one of those is going to get through, throwing some high velocity, rounds. Yes, it could be used. As you said, better options are out there, but it's not something to to totally take off the board.
Right.
Completely.
I mean, you can pick those things up for $300, throw a light on there for 50, some, not a totally cheap optic, but a relatively cheap optic for $100, and then, a couple $100 in ammo, and you got yourself a decent survival rifle, which is a lot different than a fighting rifle. But
right.
It can definitely serve a purpose.
The other thing that a lot of people don't think about with 22s is a lot of people bitch about the new price of 22, where they're like, oh, I'm not paying $60 for 500 rounds. I'm like, dude, $60 for 500 rounds? No, it's not the $15, $20, price of days gone by, but it's not a terrible price either.
Right. You're going to get 500 rounds of 5.56 for $60?
Yeah.
If you can,
anyway.
Find me on Facebook and let me know where.
So let's talk about Zero real quick before we run out of time. My basic battle rifle Zero 4.5.56 is built out most students, most people I shoot with. So there's a ton of different zeros out there. 30 meter zero, 20 meter zero, and 100 yards, the 300 yard zero, and the 50 meter zero. And then of course, do I do it in meters or do I do it in yards? Here's my take on all that. One, if your optic bullet drop station built into the reticle specific for certain distances, you have to zero that optic at those distances.
Hey, Glenn, your phone's breaking up a little bit, bud.
So, can you hear me?
Kind of. You're breaking up pretty bad. What? That?
Can you hear me?
Huh?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, there you go. That's better.
Okay. All right, cool. So what I was saying is, if your optic has bullet drop compensation built into, the reticle, then that optic is going to require a zero distance that's going to be specific. So you have to zero that optic at that distance. What I would look at doing for most rifles is between a 25 and a 50 meter zero. For most people, taking into consideration that generally people are going to be engaging, the average person is going to be engaging inside of 100, and then extending that zero if you anticipate things beyond 300. What do you think about that, Matt?
I mean, it makes sense. I come from the military world where we zero to 300 meters, and that's kind of where my rifle's at currently. Like, it's not very realistic for my purposes now, but it makes sense to, if you have a red dot and I have backups, zero those backups in for your long distance, zero that red dot in for your practical 25 to 50, because like when I was up north, I was we were hunting jackrabbits, and I took like 2 shots at this thing. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I realized, like, oh, my rifle's zeroed for 300 yards. You're shooting way under or way over or whatever with this guy. So it took a lot of, it was kind of frustrating having to like manually.
You wind just happening.
Right. Yeah. Same with that court. When we went up north, had that little meeting, and at the Chino Valley Range. My last shot, my second to last shot, when we were up close, I was like, oh, okay, I totally need to overcompensate, and Kentucky windage. And then the last shot, I was like, okay, I kind of figured it out. But had I just switched those two around, with my optic being 50 and my irons being 200, I think it would have been a lot less frustrating for me. But that's my opinion. I agree with Glenn.
So here's kind of, zero flight caliber. We could spend an entire show on it. Just keep it simple, because really, to kind of wrap things up, because I know we're pretty much on time here. To wrap things up, here's the best way I can say setting up your rifle for practicality. Regardless of the platform, regardless of the caliber, regardless of your choice of optic, lights, foregrips, grips, butt stocks, whatever, regardless of all that, you have to spend a very appropriate amount of money on ammunition and professional training, and then practice afterwards, whether it's dry practice like we talked about on the previous show, or whether it is live fire practice at the range. Whatever it is, your rifle's not going to do you a damn bit of good if you do not have a high skill level with it. And you understand where your bullets impact at different distances, and you understand where that energy falls off and they're no longer capable, and you understand what parts of your, how everything on your gun works, where it's most likely to fail, all that kind of stuff. Training is so vital, as always. So what do you got to say, Matt, to kind of wrap things up?
Save some money on that infrared, thermal scope that you saw in Active Valor and throw it towards some training.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the cool guy stuff in the world's not going to make you any better. So
that's right. That's right.
If it was that simple, then Special Forces would be very cheap to produce. We'd just throw them some gear and not worry about training. But that's not the case. Those guys train for 3-4 years before they're ever on a team, and here you are thinking you're going to be anything close to that with just because you got the same stuff they got. Like, training's everything. Bare minimums, light on a rifle. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Adam, what do we have coming up next week, man? I'm not in front of my computer, so I need your help.
Oh, let me see here. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate that.
I'm racking my brain, trying to remember. I don't recall.
Hey, boss.
While he looks that up, when are you getting back, Glenn?
I will be back into town this week and ready for some training this weekend. Independence Training's got a 2-day handgun class coming up in Chino Valley this weekend, so got to be home in time for that.
And that's a beginner and advanced handgun class, right?
That is our defensive level and advanced level class. So you kind of start with marksmanship, movement, manipulation, and mindset, and end with working around cover, working in close quarters, using one hand, both shooting hand and other shooting hand, and also working around vehicles in and outside. So it's a pretty involved, 2-day program, but it's a great class, man. People love it, and I love teaching it. So it'll be a fun time. You got that stuff, Adam, or what?
Yeah, I was waiting for you. I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
So here's what we got going on next week here on the live on the Arms Room next week. We have guest Eric English from the English Law Firm coming in.
Right.
He's going to be he's going to be in studio. Is that correct?
He is. He's going to be in studio. Eric is a great guy. He's our lawyer professionally, and he's also a fantastic supporter of the Second Amendment. I think I might have put up a picture of him on the Facebook page before, but maybe not. If not, I'm definitely putting it up now. Where this is how much the guy loves the Second Amendment. He's this kind of a lawyer. His entire tailgate of his truck is a vehicle wrapped in the Gadsden flag.
Really?
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. You'll really enjoy talking to him. So we're gonna have him. He's gonna be talking about kind of use of force laws, kind of universal type of use of force laws, the kind of things you're looking at doing, regardless of where you may be. He's also going to be talking to us about how to kind of save your butt should you find yourself in a self-defense situation. Here's some of the things that you need to do and some of the things that you shouldn't do. So that's what we're going to be doing next week on the Arms Room. I just want to say thanks again to Shooter's Grill and Lauren specifically, who's one of the owners. Her and her husband both own it. It's a great place. I'm going to go in, get you guys some T-shirts, finish my breakfast, and it's a great location. If you're ever up in the area of Rifle, Colorado, it's easy to find. It's right off the freeway. You definitely got to stop by and check it out. So other than that, as always, stay aware, stay safe, train hard. You've been listening to the Arms Room.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Young rocket trailers, the bomb busting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star spangled banner Cause we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in name. The name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to stay. Stand of the brave. The US of A.